No, Mom, it's for research, I swear. Boobs, blood, sex, swearing, all the coolest things any 13-year-old could think of. But don't let Mom catch you. Hey kids, PS3 Dad here. Age ratings on video games have been around for quite a while. Famously, the ESRB, short for Entertainment Software Ratings Board, came into being because of a court hearing in the early 90s discussing some questionable Sega games like the controversial Night Trap and violent and gory games like Mortal Kombat, which led to age ratings being placed on video games from that point on. This decision caused endless frustration for America's teenagers who all wanted to play the edgiest games and would go to any length to trick Mom into buying them. Let's take a look at some of the craziest games on the PS3 and decide whether you should play these in front of your mom or not. Splatterhouse. Limbs and entrails and blood, oh my! Save my girlfriend from a mad scientist, oh my! That's it, that's the story. Beat the crap out of hordes of monsters to save your girlfriend from evil Dr. West, who is going to sacrifice her to bring forth an army of evil gods known as the Corrupted to raise his dead wife from the grave at any cost. Thankfully, Rick, the main protagonist, who's on the edge of death, finds a mask in a sarcophagus that turns him into a bloodthirsty Hulk that conveniently has the power to stop the Corrupted in their tracks. The Splatterhouse series started in the late 80s and was considered dead until this 2010 revival brought back its signature brand of extreme gore into the mainstream. Games like this just don't get made anymore, but if you have a PS3, you can relive this magic anytime you want. Shadows of the Damned. A wonderful homage to vintage grindhouse horror, Shadows of the Damned worships at the altar of horror as an art form. The underground depravity brought to light by Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez in the 2007 Project Grindhouse was all the rage at the time. This game, like the movie genre that inspired it, was all about exploitation and shock factor, and director Suda51 definitely dialed it up to 11 with crude humor, absurd violence, and shocking sexual content. Beyond all that, there is a competent third-person shooter at its core, with several neat mechanics like a light and dark system and weapons that can be modified and upgraded. This game might push its age rating to the very max, but it does it with style. Unfortunately, this style is probably lost on your mom, who will ground you for weeks and give your PlayStation to the kid down the street if she catches you playing it. Lollipop Chainsaw. You don't think we bought this game for the complex narrative or the nuanced combat, did you? Juliet, the half-dressed teenage cheerleader, kept a lot of sock drawers busy in 2012 as Monster Energy-infused sweaty teenagers with raging hormones couldn't get enough of her, well, executed maneuvers? Don't let this game's blatant fan service distract you from the fact that it's a pretty good hack-and-slash zombie game with witty dialogue, sharp visuals, and engaging combat. This game is the love child of filmmaker James Gunn and off-the-wall developer Suda51, and no matter what you've heard about this game, it's cheesy and campy in all the right ways and severely underrated. Akiba's Trip. Just in case you were looking for a thinly veiled excuse to run out into a crowded street and start tearing somebody's clothes off in broad daylight, boy have we got you covered. Akiba's Trip takes the idea of vampires being sensitive to sunlight to heart and makes the most of its mature rating to have you undress them in the street to expose them to the sun's deadly rays before being able to beat the holy crap out of them. Sound fun? It actually is. Despite being pretty pervy, the game's combat is quite unique, and honestly, it's probably the most PG-13 M-rated game I've ever seen. While yes, you do rip their clothes off, it plays into the combat nicely with combos that feel fast and kinetic, and seeing as everyone is still wearing underwear, it's not as kinky as you might think, but I still wouldn't want to have to explain that to my mom. There is a serviceable story and interesting characters that move the plot along and justify the weirdness, but it's probably still not a game to be played in polite company. Bayonetta. This first entry in this franchise was developed and published by Sega and Platinum Games. Bayonetta is a fantastic hack-and-slash game in the style of Devil May Cry, with an awesome story and really unique visuals. The titular main character, Bayonetta, is the forbidden love child of an Umbra witch and a Lumen sage, two ancient societies that hold the two halves of the power that holds the world together. As such, she is an extraordinarily powerful being hundreds of years old, who has awakened in our time to stop these powers from coming together and destroying the world as we know it. Sounds pretty safe so far, right? Safe until your mom walks in and sees one of her half-naked finishing moves or some of the racy cutscenes. Catherine. Have you ever been in a long-term relationship that started to feel stale? You started dreaming of somebody new that would bring some excitement and passion to your life. When the girl of your dreams actually shows up, you have a big choice to make. You're attracted to this new girl, but you're committed to the old one and you feel super guilty. This guilt haunts your dreams, and at night you fall asleep and are transported to a crazy world where you're constantly running, climbing, trying to get away from this demon that takes the shape of your girlfriend, chasing you ever higher and higher up the tower. It's a weird, bizarre fever dream that you can't escape, and you're told that if she catches you, you will die in real life and never wake up. Do you continue to pursue the new girl and allow the guilt to take hold? Catherine is essentially a block puzzle game wrapped around a love triangle gone horribly wrong. A bizarre story that only the developers at Atlas could cook up. Its mature themes of dating, sex, and infidelity, and its provocative art style would definitely set Mom to grinding her teeth. Duke Nukem Forever. Duke Nukem is a misogynistic caricature of an 80s action hero. The series started out in the 90s alongside such greats as Doom and Wolfenstein, and at the time, everybody loved the cheesy one-liners and the sexualized dude bro humor. Duke Nukem Forever famously was in development hell for nearly a decade. By the time the game was actually released, not only were the graphics outdated, but the character himself was a relic of a different time. People were becoming less tolerant of that kind of humor in the 2010s. But if you're over a certain age, you're probably gonna get a kick out of this cheesy, campy action flick game. Just wear headphones if Mom is listening. Deadpool. If you know anything about the Marvel Universe, you know that Deadpool is the resident bad boy, or at least, he's a huge dork that thinks he's a bad boy. If you've read the comics or seen the more recent movies, you would know that Deadpool's humor skews toward the pimply-faced teenager's taste in potty mouth and bedroom humor, and we all know men discover what they like at 13 and never move on from it. So if you're watching this, you'll probably love it. The game is a fairly straightforward beat-em-up. Deadpool's running monologue of off-color jokes and swearing will definitely have your mom's toes curling in her Crocs. There's one notable scene where Deadpool saves the character Rogue, who can only heal by stealing energy through human touch, and of course a pretty cringe scene ensues where Deadpool makes it as creepy as possible.
It's like there's no tomorrow. Oh, I'll be gentle and darling. Hey! Holy shit!
Is that even legal?
Rogue! Baby! You're sucking too much of my... Oh.
South Park, The Stick of Truth. Depending on the mom in question, this game may or may not sound the alarm bells. In typical South Park fashion, this game deals with many offensive topics and includes lots of swearing and coarse language. The Stick of Truth is essentially another longer episode of the show. They pull no punches in this video game version, and if you're familiar with the show, you'll know what to expect from this RPG. Join Stan, Cartman, and the hilariously off-color cast for an R-rated romp that makes fun of RPGs while being one itself, and a good one. Grand Theft Auto 4. I could have included GTA 5 or any GTA game really, but 4 is the only entry exclusive to the PS3 generation. If you somehow managed to get your hands on GTA 4 back in the day as a teen, you definitely wanted to keep your bedroom door closed while you played it. Mom would lose her mind if she caught you beating prostitutes to death to steal their money or blowing up cop cars. Grand Theft Auto 4 suffers from being overshadowed by its successor GTA 5, which went on to become one of the best-selling selling video games of all time. Many people also think fondly of the PS2 games like San Andreas and Vice City and skip over 4, but that would be a mistake. There is so much to love in 4, a compelling story, entertaining missions, and a lively open Liberty City to explore. Nico, the main character, is interesting, and the challenges he faces trying to escape his past keep you on your toes. The most formative years of your life tend to be your early teens. The things you discover and fall in love with at that age tend to stick with you forever and form the basis of the entire nostalgia industry. Nostalgia tends to run in roughly 20-year cycles. We see this in every facet of pop culture, even the fashion industry. Right now, the world is focused on the early 2000s and the 80s. 20 and 40 years ago, respectively. Early 2000s fashion trends coming back and people talking about TV shows and movies from that time, and the mighty PS3 is experiencing a resurgence in popularity as people that grew up with the console are now in their 30s and coming back to it. You may remember fondly hiding one of these games from your mom or wishing you could get away with playing it back in the day and want to go back to it now and discover what you missed out on. Games you played as a kid and games you wish you played as a kid are what drives the prices of these games into the stratosphere. They're not making these games anymore, there's a limited supply, and we all know that at some point Sony is going to shut down the online store functionality, which is going to make these games even more scarce. What are some of the games you wish you played back in the day? Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, thanks for subscribing, stay classy kids!